Hi everyone, welcome to Controversy Monday. My name is Abby Lass and I'm joined here with juniors Sam Agranovich and Kayla Chang. The discussion today is, can an act be considered a hate crime if there's no malicious intent behind it? Kayla, would you like to start?
Yeah, so I guess it is a hate crime, even if there's no malicious intent against it. And I think the general reason behind that is just because it's always the person who's the victim who's the one who decides whether it's a crime or not. And that's just generally in all parts of life how we determine that.
Now, while I agree that the victim can assign severity to a crime, when you're determining if something is a hate crime or not, though, I feel like intention is intrinsically important, because if they're just doing it for a joke, it could just be an insensitive joke and they're being stupid, and they have to apologize if people find it offensive. But for it to be a hate crime implies that they are actually feeling some sort of hatred and anger and bias towards someone.
I think that hate crime less talks about the hate that the person actually feels, though, and more about the hate that's generally perpetuated by the comment. So, for example, we were talking about a swastika drawn on a bathroom or something, that's perpetuating the hate that stems from the Nazis and everything and World War II. And even if the person who drew it has no malicious intent behind it, it's still perpetuating that same hate, and the person who is maybe affected by that is still feeling that hate.
But if it's done without the intention of perpetuating it, doesn't it defang it by taking away its sensitivity and impact?
I mean, if I slap you but it was an accident, are you not hurt?
Yeah, but I'll feel better if I know it's an accident.
Okay, but you're still hurt, right? Physically.
But not emotionally. Isn't that what matters?
Well, so I guess, sorry, but part of it probably depends on the context, maybe. So if it's in a context where not necessarily these things are acceptable, but it's used as either a means of forming conversation or instigating a discussion, would it still be considered inappropriate, or when is it okay?
Instigating a discussion.
I know there was an example, I believe it was Roxbury Lab, I'm not entirely sure, where a student an African-American student was called an N-word by a white teacher as a means of an exercise. But and of course the teacher did not mean it in a malicious way, but of course that's not necessarily an acceptable act.
Because this question doesn't give any context, I believe that my stance is more correct, because doing things like making an inflammatory comment to start a conversation would go under because all actions are defined by intent.
I don't think that's true, but I think that it's a justified hate crime at that point. But it's still a hate crime because,
a justified hate crime?
He is knowingly perpetuating the hate behind that statement, that teacher. And sure, maybe the kid isn't hurt by it or something, but let's say there's a random person walking by who hears it and doesn't know the context. Right. That person could still be hurt.
But the context can be informed to them, because the context exists.
How do you know the context is informed to them? What if they're just walking by a classroom?
But I feel the difference is between murder and self-defense. Because the result is the same. Someone dies, but because of your intent in the context...
You can see self-defense inside of a situation. If one person is curled up against the wall and they're huddled together and the other guy is whoa, and then the person shoots them, that's pretty obviously self-defense.
But
you can see that from an outside situation.
Yes, from that situation, it's very built up in your favor.
Basically.
Yeah. But it can also be proven from the previous situation with the teacher. If the victim isn't hurt and he never meant it with intent.
It will be proven if it's a murder, if it's a self-defense, if it's killing in self-defense, right? But the problem is that with hate crimes, there's something that kind of happens so under the radar-y. Yes, it's technically illegal, but if someone is doing that for a classroom exercise, they're not going to stop the whole school day and be just saying, for everyone who might have walked by our classroom, we were doing this exercise. They don't do that.
Yes, but I understand what you're saying, but simply put, when someone does something like this, and there is no intention to hurt, I believe that it is provable that there is no intention to hurt, and thus the severest thing that can result from it being defined as a hate crime is a fervent apology.
Okay, so what we're Wait, so you can commit a hate crime but not commit it if you apologize?
No, it's not a hate crime then. If you're
Okay,
not actually
so
committing a hate
the
crime,
hate crime
I
is
feel that it
dependent-
would be possible
So
for you
now
to
we
prove
have
it's not a
we have
hate
different
crime.
definitions of a hate crime, right?
Possibly.
Okay, so what is the hate and hate crime?
The hate and hate crime is the bias someone feels when they commit a crime.
Okay, so if you're like maybe calling if a white teacher is calling a black student a N-word,
Mhm.
they still feel that bias. Maybe they don't like.
They're not feeling the bias, they're just...
But they are. It's institutionalized in them. Like
That's a
that's
separate
the reason
argument.
we have to talk about it.
So you're saying that because in
No,
our
I mean,
society,
under your
racism is
definition.
institutionalized
No,
within
I'm saying
people,
under your
whenever you commit a
definition-
crime that can
I'm
be...
saying under your
Yes.
definition, that teacher would still be technically feeling it. Yes.
No, but he's just exemplifying something that in another context, due to the intent, would be a hate crime, but is not in this situation.
It's all about intent now.
It's all about intent. That's
It's all about
I'm saying.
intent. See, I don't believe it's all about intent.
I
Why is
know.
it all about intent?
Because without intent, then actions just exist and then any party can define them as they wish. You can look at something from any angle and see it in any way,
Okay.
and it's only the context that actually gives it meaning.
Right. I guess, but like the context, I'd say that like the problem is like in our like society, the context is kind of always there to be a hate crime, and also hate crime, right? That's like a noun, but the hate part of it
Yeah.
is not like a verb. It's not like
It's a noun as well.
it's also a noun. It's a crime that
What are you proving by
It's a-
establishing they're
right.
both nouns?
so it's a crime that like conveys hate. It's not a crime
Oh,
that
I
is
see what
because
you're
of
saying.
hate.
So you're saying that if a crime conveys hate, the noun, then it is a hate crime, and not if a crime possesses hate as an adjective.
Yeah.
Not a hateful crime.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
a hateful
there we go.
crime, but a hate
Right.
crime.
Like, you don't need to be feeling the hate. I mean, no, you don't need to be feeling, the person committing it doesn't need to be feeling the hate.
But I feel like if you open it up to that way, then like how do you find...
You know what my question is?
Yeah.
If there's a hate crime that has intent
Right.
against you, but you don't feel any hate, is it still a hate crime?
Well, because people are allowed to charge people. Like, if I don't feel any intent, I could choose not to charge them with the crime.
Yeah, but
But
did they
someone
still
who-
commit it? That's like,
They
saying,
commit-
like if a tree fell
Fall
in the forest. Yeah.
Well, the tree fell, but the observing is the important bit. So, like, if someone observes it
Okay.
and feels harm from it, then they can charge you with it. If no one feels harm from it, then you technically got away with a hate crime, I guess.
Well, that sucks.
Well, so in that case, because you did say originally that the crime is determined by the victim,
Right.
if you refuse to be a victim then...
I mean, if you refuse to be a victim, then it's
Oh,
not
turn
a
it
hate.
right around on you.
I turned it around on myself, so technically I still win.
Right, of course. Okay.
There we go.
Since you got the final point, you are the victor.
Sounds good.
Well, so then in this context,
Well,
is there ever, do you think, because I mean, like, if it's a crime that conveys hate, even if it's not a hateful crime, is there ever a context in which it is acceptable to, like, not draw swastikas on things randomly, but, like, use that in a lesson or call a student an inappropriate term for the purpose of a lesson? Or...
Right, so what I was going to say about, like, conveying hate, the noun, it's all about how you define hate then. And that's, like, impossible to do in law because that's an emotion.
Yeah.
You can't convey hate because it's so ambiguous and
Which
abstract.
is why the law definition of hate crimes is determined by like
Intent.
the hurt. No, the hurt that's like caused.
Oh, well...
It's like if it damages your reputation, then it's or something like that.
That's
like
if
slander
we're
and
looking
stuff.
at it legally, then it's...
Let's not look at it legally.
Okay,
I don't
fine,
think either
we're
of us
not.
know enough about it.
Okay.
But at the same time, like,
But
drawing a swastika, like, as a Jewish student, obviously I'm uncomfortable with the fact that, like, there have been swastikas found around our town, but I don't feel like it's personally damaging me
Right.
as a student or
Wait,
my community.
I just came up with a really good example.
Okay.
So, you know how you talk about conveying hate? What if it's a Janist swastika? That, like, is about
Oh.
peace.
Oh.
no,
And then you
because
interpret it.
It's a different symbol. It's a mirror
It's the-
image. It's a mirror
Yeah,
image.
but people will see a swastika like, oh my god, there's a swastika on the wall.
Ooh,
I
that's
feel
actually
hate.
interesting. No, then that person's just dumb. No, because then they're uninformed, right?
But it's still a
It's like-
swastika.
But then if you
Then
don't
you're
understand the
uninformed.
context, you're misinformed
it's
still,
about
too.
the context now. It's all about the intent.
It's not about the intent though, because that's not a hate crime. That's not a hate. It's like because the person is like that is not a.
Okay, let's
Informed
say.
person.
Okay, let's say the Janus swastika looked
It's
exactly
not
like.
about context in that point though. It's about the fact that like the victim, who's not actually a victim, just like has no idea what
Wait,
they're
why are
talking
they no
about.
longer a victim? If
Because they
they're
have
hurt,
no
aren't
idea
they a
what they're
victim?
talking about.
But then how do you
It's
constitute
different.
someone knowing what they're... Like, if I were to walk by, as you said, and I didn't hear the
Because
context of a
that's-
lesson,
okay,
why is that different?
I think it's that in, like, the context of the... Not in the context of, like, whatever, like, a person walking by a lesson, they have no way to figure out the context. But, like, if there's someone who sees the peaceful version, like, the mirror image of the swastika, like, they shouldn't feel anything.
But what if, okay, let's say that instead of it being a mirror image, it looked the same.
Okay.
And in that instance, the person draws a Jainist swastika that looks the same like the Nazi swastika. Someone sees it, gets offended. Are they committing a hate crime then? Because their intent was to just no?
No.
No, would you say a lot?
Because that's I maintain that stupid people aren't allowed to determine status of a crime.
But how is it the victim's fault now if it looks exactly the same?
Because
that's intent then.
It's okay. Give me a situation where it would like they would just their eyes would just forget to like flip the mirror image of something.
Well, I mean, there's also the instances, this is a little different, but I know there was a school in Virginia that chose to teach, they were doing a lesson on calligraphy in mosques, and certain parents in the community thought this was outrageous, that people were trying to, like, indoctrinate their children into Islam, and it's not necessarily a hate crime because it wasn't defiling Muslims necessarily, but people were offended by something that didn't necessarily need to be seen as offensive.
Okay, fine,
so.
I'll give you that context matters.
Yay!
But I don't think intent matters.
Okay, but wait, if context matters,
It's
why does it
context
matter?
matters.
Why does it matter then? Why does the
Why
victim's
does context
opinion matter
matter?
at all then if context matters?
Because if someone is yelling like, okay, so if I'm like just mad at you, and I'm just like, oh, I could insult like some random like, I don't know, some random part of you, but I choose like a specific part, like the fact that you're Jewish.
Right.
I'd say that's a hate crime because it's like targeting specific parts, and you're gonna feel extra hurt from that.
But like, but
It's like,
why are you insulting me? What's the context? Are you like sarcastic about it?
Sure.
Or is it different if it's him personally versus like Jews?
I think that no, because I think when you bring in like a hate crime, the victim feels some like extra than what you meant. That's
like
why the meaning doesn't matter.
Like
it's
something
because
out of their
the
power.
person, like if I'm insulting you, I'll never feel like the extent of what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're feeling like your history and everything that's getting insulted.
Right.
And I'm just like, oh, I'm insulting Sam, and that's fun.
Oh, so I see what you're saying. So like, if someone interprets calling someone a Jew as a personal insult instead of like, this is what your entire family is, this is what you are.
Or maybe, yeah, or something
then,
like that. I mean, like, it's just that.
But I feel like that goes back to your point of being stupid then. Then they're just being stupid and think you're individually a Jew.
You're not being stupid at that point.
You're being hateful, is what you're gonna say?
Wait, who's being stupid? Now I'm confused.
Okay, so in my opinion, if someone thinks that calling someone a Jew is a personal insult instead of like you're like a religious insult or a race insult, that's the bully's fault for being stupid. And just the same when we're talking about the Janus symbol, like if they don't know that's a Janus symbol.
Yeah, well, bullies are inherently stupid, so
it's
so it's okay for them to be stupid, but not the victim to be stupid.
Remember, kids,
AKA,
name it, claim it, stop it.
Right,
all right, well, on that lovely note, thank you for the anti-bullying shout-out. We're going to have to end the debate here. Thank you so much for listening, and tune in next week for an entirely new debate. Don't forget to cast your opinion on the poll attached. Thank you.